You see ETFs as a way to work around this confusion in a way, or to navigate the election volatility, I guess the stimulus volatility, it could be called as well. Explain.
Yes, so there's one part of the ETF market which actually really hit the nail on the head last time. So that's sector ETFs. That's dividing the market into its 11 GIC sectors. And you saw sales of sector ETFs really take off 4 years ago. Because what happened is on the Trump victory, that was quite a surprise in the end. And people really wanted to very quickly orientate their portfolio to the winners. The winners then were believed to be the areas which would see either deregulation or tax rises, such as, energy benefited from a less harsh environment under Trump. Financials benefited from deregulation. There were a lot of companies running ahead of the tax cuts. And then you saw areas such as utilities and consumer staples come off because they were too defensive in that environment. Maybe we'll see the exact opposite this time.
Yeah, and in terms of positioning around the US election then, Rebecca, do the same, different sectors clearly loom into view? I've been reading a story this morning about how in the FX markets, traders are pulling out the Trump playbook, but maybe turning it on its head this time, depending on their expectations of who wins. So Mexican peso in focus, the ruble in focus. What's in focus for you in terms of the US election at the moment?
Okay, so I think key is you've got a utilities energy pool. So energy clearly has had a really rotten time, both on the demand and the supply side. But things are not going to get any better if you see a Biden elected, but also if you see the full Democratic sweep, you are going to see an unleashing of green policies. You're going to see more taxes against carbon. You are going to see a whole wave of infrastructure and spending on renewables, on battery technology. That will very, very clearly benefit the utilities who are earlier in this game. And look at the re-rating of European utilities that you've seen when they've started to get into renewables. And you compare that with compare it with energy. And those oil and gas companies are so late in the game, they're going to end up with stranded assets. So that's clearly top of mind, as is financials, because financials, you could get a different economic environment. You could get different regulations. They're clearly impacted by tax. And then I think the consumer might be in play as well, because both sides are talking about we're going to benefit the consumer either by a tax cut or by maybe paying them more, so the minimum wage. So that would be certainly something that's talked about. But clearly, and I think we've seen that in the markets this week, anything that was planned by either Biden or Trump is almost being pushed to one side now, because what really, really matters is getting that fiscal deal.